Natural history museums like the Natural History Museum in London provide visitors an intriguing glimpse of artifacts from every aspect of life on Earth. But their exhibit halls hold only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to natural history collections. Hidden out of the view of the public in museums, universities, and research facilities throughout the world lies a vast repository filled with specimens representative of life on Earth, contributing daily to our knowledge and understanding of the natural world. Besides scientists, students in colleges can utilize specimens in their studies, while natural history collections in primary education can aid in illuminating difficult concepts and spark a passion for science. The informal learning provided by natural history presentations in museums gives everyone opportunities for scientific enrichment. The specimens creating the bulk of natural history collections are voucher specimens, which are used to provide a reliable means of identifying species used in research. Some of these are simply the specimen used in specific studies being housed for reference, while others are holotypes, which are the original individuals used to identify a species, and they continue to serve as the basis for identification. Herbaria, such as the herbarium here at Central Michigan University, are used to aid in plant identification by storing botanical specimens of dried plants, including their fruit, flower, and vegetative structures. The CMU Herbarium has collections centered around the biodiversity found in Michigan. When unidentified species are collected in the field, they can be compared with those already identified which are present in an herbarium. Rachel Hackett, a graduate student at CMU who carried out her research in prairie fens, uses the herbarium to aid in identification of plants during surveys and to store her voucher specimens collected during fieldwork. Zoological specimens contained in these collections include taxidermies of animals, skeletal remains, eggs, feathers, and pelts. Collections from specific areas can serve as a record of biodiversity over time. At the Central Michigan University Museum of Cultural and Natural History, there are found predominantly species from the Great Lakes region, including the third largest bird collection in Michigan, containing over 7,000 specimens. Looking back at these biodiversity collections can help scientists know what was present in an area in the past and compare it to today's present biodiversity to detect any changes. Additionally, natural history collections include abiotic specimens to complete the story of these organisms in the form of soil samples, birds' nests, minerals, and rocks. They contribute to the broader understanding of a species and the surroundings present in an ecosystem. Ancient and extinct species are represented in these collections by fossil records and paleontological specimens, which serve to preserve these last traces of these species. The now extinct auk and dodo bird were wiped out hundreds of years ago, but contained within natural history collections around the world are preserved skeletons, bones, and even eggs that have been used to give us a realistic image of what these birds looked like. Natural history collection specimens and records have been used to provide data for ecological and taxonomical investigations, such as the study centering on 3 species of the rare and invasive Central African servalan genets in the genus Genata. Specimens from 15 natural history collections provided information regarding their known range and ecological limits to assist in ecological modeling of their potential current distribution. This map suggested potential ecological corridors between the previously thought to be isolated populations of the genets and influenced the reassessment of the conservation status of the species. Famous historic expeditions, such as Darwin's expeditions with a beagle, collected multitudes of specimens. Research into his collections have unearthed new species, such as this new genus species of beetle, recently described in 2014. These collections provide a glimpse into past records of biodiversity through time and space, and their potential to contributing towards research is still being discovered. A subset of these specimens have been on display to the public, but many more are housed behind the scenes in the vast archives to be used primarily for research purposes. Climate change is a serious issue impacting our land and ocean ecosystems worldwide. As the ocean temperature and the acidity changes, it affects the ability of biocalcifying organisms, such as corals, to form their exoskeletons. Marine natural history collections collected over a period of hundreds of years can provide a pre-anthropogenic baseline for measuring the effects of climate change on these systems. The Natural History Museum in London holds collections of biocalcifying corals, foraminifera, and bivalves from the historical marine expeditions of the Discovery and Challenger. These provide a baseline to study climate change effects on the oceans by comparing them to these organisms now. The usefulness of natural history collections expands also to uses beyond scientific research, including education in schools and in museums. According to the National Math and Science Initiative, only 32% of 8th graders performed at or above the proficient level in science in 2011. If America is to compete on a national scale, that statistic will need to improve. We need the next generation to have a good understanding of nature so that they can make good personal and political decisions about conservation, fossil fuel usage, and other important ecological issues. Natural history collections in the classroom can help bring science alive for young students and spark a lifelong interest in the subject. Mike LaValle runs an environmental education program through the Isabella Conservation District, bringing natural history collections into schools.
It's the upper elementary, that's where we focus on, mainly 3rd and 4th grade, some 5th and 6th grade class. We're not talking microbiology, but anything else that's earth or life science definitely helps to have this sort of natural history collection. The nice thing is that most of these kids aren't exposed to things like this.
Okay.
So this gets them first-hand exposure. Like that, how is this one so much younger than that one when they're the same size? It's just concepts that actually being able to see it and handle it gets through into their minds a little bit better than if they're just told this. Talk about what a cicada is before that, and you say that this cicada was being carried by that wasp when you caught the wasp. So that definitely catches their attention on something like that. And that's something that, most kids are never going to see the inside of a turtle's skeleton. They just don't have the access to it, and the teachers that are out there don't have access to most of these materials. So that's what we're trying to do through our program, just get the kids exposed to objects like this and get them so that they know what's out there in their local environment and they actually start to care about it.
Informal education through trips to natural history museums can be fascinating and informative for people of all ages. Museum exhibits can help scientists educate the general public about many subjects as well as help provide funding for continued storage and maintenance of specimens. According to the American Alliance of Museums, there are approximately 850 million visits to U.S. museums each year, more than the attendance for all major league sporting events and theme parks combined. Museums also often offer community outreach services like programs for children on the autism spectrum and English as a second language students. The uses of natural history collections are nearly as diverse and numerous as the specimens they contain. Whether natural history collections are being used for important research, influencing the next generation of scientists, or entertaining a family on a Saturday afternoon, they are an invaluable resource.